Hi there. Good day. Thank you for joining me. My name is Jesse Pohlman. I'm an author and writer from Long Island, New York, and this is my 2024 yearly wrap-up. I do this every year. It's actually updated 10/25/2024, so that's a pretty good thing. Our planned theme for this year, theme being like a thing we were going to try to accomplish for this year, me and my family, my wife, my mother-in-law, my cats, was the year of action. Our actual yearly theme is the first year of action, or possibly the second year of the tooth. Because if you look back at last year's, it was the year of the tooth. My wife and I, particularly my wife, she had a lot of tooth issues, a lot of dental stuff. I did too, no doubt about it. This is my cat Ariel. She's coming up to say hi. Hi, baby cat. You can kind of just see her down in the bottom right of the screen, but she's just around. See, she's sitting not quite on my lap, but definitely in my space. So, this year's theme is strictly because it's frankly an accurate one, but also inaccurate one. Here's what I mean. We spent a lot of this year dealing with action items. We, and by we I mean my wife, we'll talk about her a little bit later, sold my father's house. We started planning for the next phase of our lives after this one, which is 2 to 4 years off. So basically we're starting a bunch of action that we're trying to move forward over the next couple of years. And there's a lot there that we need to do, but it's not a bad plan, it's a good plan. So this is so much the first step. I spent a great deal of this year chasing down my own health issues and further dealing with my neck issues. It's gotten to the point where I need surgery, which is upcoming, we think. But the first surgery on my sinuses, because my sinuses got done, was on my sinuses in years. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm not making cuts on this. This is for fun. This is for documentary purposes. This isn't for, like, perfection here. I've had 8 tubes in my left ear, 5 tubes in my right ear. Because I had to get tubes. Because insurance wouldn't pay for him to do the eustachian tube expansion that I need for my, congenital deformity. Anyway, let's not get into insurance, otherwise Mario music might start playing for some obscure reason. Except Nintendo would probably sue me for that, so that's another story. Plus a deviated septum repair, plus some drainage improvements and all that. In other words, everything in here is still kind of like not 100%. But it's better than it was. And I feel physically and mentally a lot more clear in my head from not having like a chronically infected sinus. So next year, starting in January, is when the real test begins. I'm scheduled for a spine surgery on the relatively basic, big quotes there, end. But further testing hasn't failed. There might be more to it than we thought, so that's a concern. Always get a second opinion before a major surgery, especially if it's your spine. They might find things in the second pass that first guy missed because he was looking at your medical history and not your presentation. It's not a bad thing. It's why you have multiple people look at something that serious. Do it. So yeah, that's a lot. My overall productivity. Let's get some good stuff. We got to the bad first, which is not how I like to do things, but we'll get to some good now. Publications did happen. Progress got made on the tabletop RPG I started last year. In fact, Physics Trincarnate got nominated for 2 Indie Ink Awards. You can still vote for me on. You go to IndieInkAwards.com. Let's open the tab real quick. Indie Story Geek. Indie Ink Awards. Boom. Website. Big little website. You just create an account, you go down, you look for me under Best Light Read and Best Setting. Those are my categories that I got nominated for. Thank you for nominating me. Thank you for everyone who voted for me. It blows my mind. There's still a few days to do that. I think we end like next Monday. I don't know. Back to the wrap-up. I was on TV. We'll talk about that later. I can't complain. I really for all that is rough up in front of me that's coming up soon, I'm doing well. I'm doing well in a way that a lot of people I understand aren't doing well. And I don't mean politically, because politically I'm not doing well. I talk about that a little bit later in this, but, things are things. I know a lot of people are having a hard time right now. I'm doing okay. I'm very lucky and very blessed. So at a glance, my publication history and feature. I published a short story, The Prince of the Sands, in the Story Valley anthology, Fire and Scales. You should go check that out. I wonder if I have that available. Well, I don't have that available, but this person, Karen Doctor, wrote it, did a little write-up about it. And about the leader of the whole team, Ember Scott. She's pretty chill. Yeah, if you look here, Amazon, Fire and Scales Anthology. Pretty cool. So that's neat. I was published in this. It's about dragons. It's a Pillars of the Kingdom short story, by the way. I have a finished Pillars of the Kingdom book sitting on my hard drive, collecting dust, because I don't want to look at chapter 1. I've got notes that I need to look at for chapter 1. I just don't want to do it, because I'm busy writing a tabletop role-playing game. Indie Ink Awards, again, best setting, best light read. Please go vote for me. The Gooch Show appearance. So, some old friends of mine, family friends, you could say. Friends of my father's, actually. Childhood friend of my father. You know, it's really weird when you keep up, like, connections, even though you're really kind of antisocial. Like, I'm antisocial, and I kept up connections well, and that's pretty neat. They run a show called The Gooch Show. It's a Long Island-based show. It's nothing huge. It does kind of like a YouTube stream, maybe like a third-tier TV stream. But I was on a TV show, and that was pretty cool. Let's talk about Right Hive 2024. This is my 5th year doing a Right Hive, by the way. So I've been there for every year, from 2020 to 24. I hosted 2 panels, one about war and its long-term effects, one about historians on history and fiction. I also did one of the guest of honor interviews, which was really like amazing to do, like a sit-down interview with another person who's an accomplished writer. It's like, wow, that's pretty cool. And I was a panelist on the Magic Systems debate. Also, it's worth noting, roughly every other week, I host our Saturday write-ins and other small-scale events. We have little weekend write-ins. I host those. Sometimes I host our Monday night write-ins. Sometimes I host a couple of weeks in a row. Sometimes I take a couple of weeks off. Depends on how we're doing. Got a new addition to the convention rounds. It's Story Valley Convention. Remember how I said that I was published in the Story Valley Anthology? Well, I also did work with a con with them. I hosted a panel on science and science fiction where we got some scientists together to talk about science. Like, we had a person who does mathematics. We had a person who does mechanical stuff. Like, the closest I could get to understanding it was, like, he does robots. So that's pretty cool. And I was a guest on another panel about magic systems. So I've done 2 magic system panels, which I guess makes me like a respected expert in the field of magic systems. It doesn't. It was different in that I had to take a different approach. I had to be much more hands-on, but it was their first year. Like, of course, it was their first year. They were having me help out a little more because I've been doing this for 5 years for Right Hive. So I did Story Valley, and it's different, and sometimes I needed to step up and be more assertive, and that's fine. It's fine. Chronicles of Alaron, my Lego webcomic, is on hiatus. I did do a very small thing today. Earlier today, I did a Merry Christmas and a thing, a little post. You know, a little post of our cast. It wasn't very much, it wasn't very well organized, but it was indeed a merry and proverbially white Christmas, because there's snow on the ground. That's what that means. Happy holidays to you all, whatever you celebrate. So there you go. Got the whole cast together. The article itself has a little section of everyone giving their thoughts on what's up with their predicament of suddenly being in a patch of snow with each other. Some of these people don't like one another, just saying. This guy up here really hates the pirates to the left. And the goblins are actually not bad guys, but they're still on the antagonist side for some reason. Wonder if there might be future conflict in the mix. Anyway, I also would love it if you checked out Chronicles of Alaron. I know I'm like doing a lot of self-promo here, but like this is my wrap-up of my like life, but also my creative stuff, so you're going to hear a lot about my creative stuff. It's like the one time in the year I get up and I like binge speak about my creative stuff. Website blog. Last year I only wrote about 12 website blogs. This year I've only got, let's see, 11 so far, but maybe with more coming. So we're doing all right. I might get another 1 or 2 out, depending on how things go. The Weekly Freeporter. I did 3 weekly Freeporters. I don't live in Freeport anymore. I love Freeport. I go to Freeport. I check it out. You know, my parents' house got sold in Freeport. I still go down to Freeport for reasons, but You know, it's like I'm not there living there, so I'm not getting the news anymore. So the Weekly Freeporter is really only when I hear something that needs to be like signal boosted, like if there's an event that I happen to know. Like I know the Pride thing, they did the second annual Pride meeting, and that was pretty cool. Dystopian Review, 3 videos published, 2 reviews, 1 reality, and all 2 reality. There's a One Punch Man episode. There's an episode about Marvel's Age of Apocalypse storyline, and then I did a video about the definition of fascism. I'm not getting too political in this, although my next thing is also a political thing, really. Yeah, it's just a case of that word has a meaning. I like Roger Griffin's definition of palingenetic ultranationalism. That word being fascism, by the way. And it fits. Sorry to tell you, it fits. Speaking of politics, the Progressive Cafe. I was doing weekly until July 26th, then I shifted to an occasional only since it wasn't doing so well. It's now a when I feel like writing something platform. So I did the Weekly Freeporter, I did the Progressive Cafe weekly for like a year and a half, maybe close to 2 years. And viewership just wasn't growing. Subscription numbers just weren't growing. I understand intellectually that part of that is because the platforms I was using at the time, which was mainly Facebook and Twitter, have been doing a lot of link suppression. In other words, you probably found this through Blue Sky. Maybe because you saw me talk about it. Facebook and Twitter suppress links outside of Facebook and Twitter. Especially Twitter suppressing Substack. That's a known thing and has been known for a while because Elon Musk was overt about it. He was like, they stole our technology, so we're suppressing Substacks. Well, this is a Substack. Of course it didn't get a lot of views from Twitter. So I shifted some focus to TikTok. I made a few videos, maybe a few dozen videos. I got up to 83 followers, which is pretty good. I don't know if it's my phone or the app itself, but making videos is almost pleasant, but glitchy as fuck. So it's been backburnered until I get a new phone. Basically, when I'm sitting down, and I don't even know where I put my phone, it's over here. When I'm messing around with my phone and making videos and I'm recording splices and all that, I better turn off my physical therapy alarm because I just realized that's on. Yeah, I don't have physical therapy today. It's Christmas. What a shocker. Don't need my alarm for that. Turn it on again next January, except don't because that's not going to work either because it's New Year's. What a fun year. Making videos with my phone is just not working very well, especially longer videos or videos where I have to overlay stuff. My phone doesn't like it. I don't know if it's the app itself or my phone. And either way, TikTok is slated to like pass on in the next month, depending on what the Supreme Court of the United States rules and what they choose to do after that. So I don't want to go all in making TikToks. What you might see is you might see me more on either this account or on, I don't know, I have a lot of ideas. I'm going to make videos about Panamagica. I'm going to show you a little bit about that in a minute. But I don't know. It's very, very questionable. Total paid sales of this is like I sold people a book for. It's unfortunate. It's lower than last year, but I haven't had any standalone publications. You know, I don't know how many copies of the short story anthology got sold, but like technically I'm 1/8 of each of those. So that's cool. Video game channel development, which is always ongoing. My FrostPDP account, you'll see me there. Primary list of accomplishments excludes individual Let's Plays, but notable campaigns are included. So, for example, I played Baldur's Gate 3 a lot. I recorded episodes 37 through 142. I mean, that's what's out right now. I'm up to like 159 recorded now. I tried Tribes 3 Rivals. It was fun. It felt a lot like Tribes Ascend, but it wasn't Tribes Ascend, which I really loved that game. It's one of the first games on this channel. Space Marine 2. I love Warhammer 40k lore. I haven't really gotten into the books yet. I'm planning on Eisenhorn. I have to finish a Mercedes Lackey. I have to finish a J.D. Rivers. And then I'm going to read the Eisenhorn books. Unless something else comes out I need to read. But like Eisenhorn is where I'm kind of like curious about like getting into the actual like text of Warhammer. I've read excerpts. They seem interesting. But I just didn't love Space Marine 2's perspective. It's like it's an over the shoulder, you're viewing the character from behind, but like behind and to the right, which is going to look like this from you. So you see the field of view to the character's right, kind of like this would be. I mean, I'm mirrored, so like that's why I'm having a hard time with my hands. Like you see everything over here and nothing over here. Like, you know, it doesn't work for me. Mech Warrior 5 Mercenaries, I literally picked this up yesterday because there was a Steam sale by Piranha Games, and it was fun. I'll definitely play more of this. I put out a channel update. If I can get Legions for Windows to work better, I will. It's not working with Streamlabs right now. Some stuff isn't showing up. Subscriber count growth. Started at 689. As of today, it's at 730. That zero didn't print. It's a growth of 41. Which contrasts favorably to last year's 33. I've been mostly putting out the same content, no special videos. It's been mostly like a year of Baldur's Gate gameplay. Like, what do you expect? If people aren't interested in Baldur's Gate, the channel's not going to grow that much, and Baldur's Gate interest, you know, kind of goes off. So now we're doing major releases by month. What this is me talking about major releases that are in bold, and that I haven't already talked about, and then little releases in regular font. Color coordination. Chronicles Alaron is the one tiny one will be red. The weekly free portal will be orange. FrostPDP projects, if there's any, will be light blue. Blogs are gray. Dystopian review is black with white lettering. The Progressive Cafe is not counted, nor are most individual FrostPDP updates, nor are any TikTok videos, even though some got over 1,000 views. Keep that in mind. TikTok actually got me a lot of views, but that doesn't mean people actually watch, although it did give me a lot of comments. So it means some people did watch. Some videos did get over 1,000 views, which is like 100 times more than this video is probably going to get. So this year, because there's so little to talk about, I've added in convention appearances to discuss them a little bit, if I haven't already. So Story Valley AMA on January 3rd. January 7th, there was a blog about being on the Googledocs show. January 9th, I was on the Googledocs show. Check it out. January 16th, I did a Some More Thoughts, which is when I critique literature on Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. February 19th, I talked about One Punch Man and version control, basically because there's the webcomic version, there's the anime version, and there's the webcomic, the manga, and the anime based on the manga, which is based on a webcomic. So you can see how that goes. Because what I was doing a lot of deep research into One Punch Man and reading all three versions, like 300 chapters of one. Nah, I'm lying. It's only 200 chapters of one and 150 of the other. But they're chapters. They're whole chapters. And then I had to do the anime. I had to watch the anime for differences too. Again, version control. Lots of changes. It makes literature hard. March 29th, I did some thoughts on Jujutsu Kaisen up to 254. Very recently, they released an epilogue chapter of Jujutsu Kaisen. I can now really sit down and go, hey, here's the full what actually happened with Jujutsu Kaisen. It's pretty fun, actually. I did some thoughts on X-Men Age of Apocalypse as I was writing the video up for X-Men Age of Apocalypse Dystopian Review, which didn't get many views, which I'm sad for. June 4th, I did an article about Lego at the library because I like Lego and I like the library. I am not a complicated man. June 7th through June 9th was Red Hive 2024. The videos should all be available on Red Hive's YouTube channel. August 6th, I did the weekly free report about mask bans are bad, because if you're sick, you should wear a freaking mask. I know it's uncomfortable, but if you're sick, wear a mask. That's all I ask. If you're healthy, you should wear a mask, but do people? No. Okay. But if you even have a sore throat, if you just feel a little sick, wear a mask, because that could be COVID. And if it's not COVID, it could be the flu, which is going to be a big thing coming up this year. If the bird flu crisis is any indicator, just Google it. You're not going to be happy. August 19th, Prince of the Sands was published. We talked about that. On August 17th, the Weekly Freeporter, I did an article about Maven Charter School, which was a charter school that was trying to open up in Freeport and get state approval to run. And, like, this was a weird case of, like, a lot of stuff not adding up. And my deduction was basically, hey, this seems like a Catholic school that's being labeled as not a Catholic school. Because when you really dug into what they considered their moral guidance, it was Catholic school stuff. So that was fun. August 23rd, Story Valley Conference, I talked about already. September 1st, I did an article on some thoughts on Evil. Not Evil as a concept, Evil as the TV show. It's got Katja Herbers, it's got Mike Coltier, it's got Asif Manvi, it's got Michael Emerson, I believe is his name. He played Ben Linus in Lost as the antagonist. They got that man to play so many brilliant characters. Like, between Ben Linus is an all-star antagonist. And Leland Townsend is an all-star antagonist. But Evil is not just about like, oh, these are evil people. It's about like the banality of evil, which is really freaking great. You should watch it, and you should get on social media and demand that CBS Paramount continue that show. Or Netflix pick it up, or something. It's brilliant. October 12th, I turned 40. That happened. November 1st, I did a dystopian reality on Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, and fascism. Again, I talked about this earlier. November 17th, I wrote an article on lost love and lopping it off. You might notice my hair is short now. That is because A, I was having surgery, which November 21st, sinuses, ears, can't really take a great shower, can't really take a great, you have to sponge bath, kind of. You can sit in the bath, but you have to sponge bath. So, long hair and sponge bath don't mix. And anyway, it was coming up on the 3rd-year anniversary of my father's passing. So, I wanted to cut my hair off anyway. It had been I started growing it in September of 2021. And I never stopped growing it after he died. Except for little trims here and there. So 3 years and change of having long hair. And the only reason I didn't wait until the 30-year anniversary of his death was because I had the surgery coming up. And it's just like, it's time. The cosmos are telling me it's time. November 21st, I had my surgery. I talked about that. November 26th, I wrote about my top 5 music artists not being a top 5. There's no ranking. It's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's in order of like when I discovered them. But even that is... You can do order I discovered them or order I put them up. Because Jonathan Young I discovered and he was good. But as I got to know his work better, he qualified as the top 5. Whereas the Birthday Massacre, I discovered them after him, but I was hooked during the pandemic. Nothing but Birthday Massacre. So that's how they're out of order, but not really, because like one guy elevated his game to earn the spot when the other people were already in a spot. It's not like you lose a spot, you're just a top artist now. And there's no ranks. It's not like who I listen to most. It's you're all just there. For those who are curious, it's Garbage, Silver Sun Pickups, Neurowolf, Birthday Massacre, and Jonathan Young. And I'm really considering Cell Dweller, and I'm really considering there's some bands that just like would make it if they had stayed around, like the Vincent Black Shadow would have made it if they had just kept making music, but they quit, and I understand why. Life happens, but like whatever. December 3rd was a monthly blog update. December 7th, I was nominated for the award. On December 7th, I also wrote about a blog article about that. And December 25th, Merry White Christmas. And I assume after this, I will write that. I know this video is already 23 minutes. These videos are a review of a year. A year. So areas of accomplishment. Here's where I praise my wife. Well, besides selling my parents' house, which honestly my wife did the work on, having surgery, and who do you think took care of me, and having more medical stuff besides that, which is mostly my medical stuff. Not all, but mostly. My wife really took care of me. My mother-in-law, too, really took care of me. They really do. See, here's the thing, right? There's so much to say, I don't know how to say it without this being an hour-long video. And it's already half an hour long. So, like, I can't say enough. So I just say a little bit. Because without my wife, I'd be totally screwed. Like, there's no question about that. Never mind the heartbreak that it would cause, or the loneliness that it would cause. Or that, like, if I never met her, like, I would maybe be with someone else, but I'd also never have met this person that is so my person. As she's wanting to say, we are just fucked up enough to understand each other, without being so fucked up, we mess with each other. Most of the time. Most of the time. So, yeah. We've been working on our life plan for the next 2 to 4 years. I don't want to go into much detail because it's still far out, but it's definitely going to be a huge change. We're making changes, which is a good thing. Let's turn our eyes down range. Last year, December 14th, if Google's not lying to me, I got a head cold, and I started to work on what I'd later call Panamagic. It's a tabletop role-playing game. Remember, I got my start writing in AOL chat room role-playing games, Long Live Writing. Panamagic recently hit 53,000 words in its first draft. I'm expecting it to reach 120,000 in its first draft. Okay, let's go over and look at Panamagica for a minute. This is a draft that was written on head cold meds. Anyway, my preface, we're going to have a whole video about this, but it's really good. The key to this game is mutual consent and respect. And it is currently sitting at 62,408 words, which is a lot for those who don't know. I have to wrap this up soon. But I'm soliciting work from people. I have a decent Rolodex of people who are artistically inclined and otherwise useful. I'm going to need like book formatters. I'm going to need this. I'm going to need art. I'm going to need that. So I'm also working on submitting 2 stories to the Write Have anthology. It's called Surviving Humanity. It's going to be hard. I also have 2 books in the trunk. I have a finished Protostar, which I don't know. I feel like I went maybe a little too far with that one. It's definitely my most horrific book in a lot of ways. And I have a Pillars of the Kingdom, which again, like I don't want to do that first chapter. There's so much there that like I need to just like sit down and rewrite it, and I don't want to. I know, it's writing complaints. Areas of focus for 2024. Let's start wrapping this up. YouTube gaming content, 3 a week. Depends on how long my supply lasts. Write Hive, hosting, moderating. Hopefully another StoryCon. Story Valley Convention. The areas of focus is like health. You know, mentally, this was written before I got my updated MRI. So all of this can change. But intellectually, I know it's a fairly routine surgery, assuming it's the same surgery. If it's not, if it's 2 of them at once, it becomes a much more difficult process. Emotionally, this might hurt. Oh yeah, I'm terrified. There's political stuff. You don't write a publication called The Progressive Cafe and wind up happy with what we've got for the next 2 to 4 years. I may have more work in that field. We'll see how the surgery goes. Lastly, is just that once we're better, we need to get up to speed on life changes, which aren't bad, but we need to have control of them. It seems like these are mostly real-life concerns and not publication ones. They are. I mean, surgery is kind of a real-life thing. Publication credits can and will come with time, but my hope is that with a rough first half of the year, it'll make for a much easier next few years. In other words, I'm going to suffer a lot up front, but after 6 months, when I'm healed up, I won't have problems for years. I won't have tingling going down my shoulder that feels like a wing trying to burst out of my shoulder, or it feels like little soap bubbles on your shoulder popping constantly. Even more, I hope the world does well with all the chaos. I'm still torn between Tzeentch and Slaanesh. I think rejecting the excess pain and embracing the change caused by surgery means I've chosen Tzeentch. I don't know, it's a Warhammer 40k joke. I'm sure new things will come up and old things will be put down. I'm sure I'll work on Panamagica. It'll be fun. Fun, he says, as the Trump administration and surgery loom. Yes. Music is not this, actually. It's this. It's vibrant 80s synthwave playlist by good old Karl Casey. And yeah. You know, it's pretty cool. So anyway, I want to thank you for spending this half hour with me. If you've found something useful, if it's been inspirational, if it's just helped you feel like planning your own year out, that'd be great. I also might start journaling. We'll see. Anyway, thank you all for joining me. My website is jpohlmanwriting.com. I'm on Blue Sky at jpohlmanwriting.com. And Blue Sky, because that way you can see it. This is me. I am at jpohlmanwriting.com. I did the verification and all that. Blue Sky is pretty neat. You should check it out. Anyway, have a great year. I'll see you again, hopefully sooner than next year on this channel. Maybe I'll have something to talk about. Who knows? Thank y'all. Pieces.